Sitting room, Barry?
Yeah, two people.
Okay.
Hang on a minute.
We'll just wait for them to come in.
3 people.
Oh gosh.
Gosh, lots.
How many are we up to?
39. It looks like while the boring business is going on, there's going to be an active discussion on the chats for those of you that want to see that. I don't know is the honest answer to your question, Bryn. And I've only seen one brimstone, John. Are we all in then, Barry?
Yep.
Okay, brilliant. Welcome everybody to the 74th AGM. It's mildly ironic that I've been looking at some of the old AGMs right from when the GNS started, and what is quite remarkable and possibly quite sad is how similar my report is to the chairman's reports from all those years ago as well. So I suppose in some respect a lot of things don't change, especially in terms of natural history recording in a society like ours. And other than my report, I think that's probably going to be it from me. Are you happy to take over, Anna? And our president our president will chair this meeting. So welcome, Anna, and thank you for being here. And over to you.
Thank you, Mervyn. Welcome everybody from me as well. Just to say it's been a really good year, I think, for members. Be able to join field events properly again and take advantage of these excellent Zoom talks. I think the Zooms have really worked well. We've had tremendous number of people joining, and it enables us to take part together and have a glass of wine. I've certainly seen the odd glass of wine on my screen, and Andy's G&T, of course, the pink gin, yes. But you know, there's the pub chat meetings as well, and exchange of info and what we've been doing. It's really good. Your committee has been incredibly busy because I do get the notes and I do read them, and I'm full of admiration for the amount of work that you get through, really. And just to say, I particularly enjoyed the photographic competition this year. The standard was absolutely amazing, and the winner blew my mind away. It was stunning. And just to say also that the Facebook page, playground page, is really good. So if nobody's yet discovered it, please do look on Facebook for GNS.
Well, because it's so far away from us.
The which?
Better, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think we've got some interference somewhere. Claire, can you turn your mic off?
Mark. Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, I've got instructions to keep everything very brief. So without any more ado, we'll just go to the minutes of the 73rd AGM 2022, which I presume you've all read it online or it's in GNS News. So is everybody happy with those minutes, or is there anything that you want to change at all? I shall virtually sign them across the screen or something. But if you are happy, we need a proposer and a seconder to adopt them. Right, nobody's right.
David's proposing.
Andy's proposing. Oh, and David Cramp. So
yep.
David proposing, Andrew seconding. Thank you very much, everybody. Matters arising at all from those minutes? I don't see any waving hands at all. Splendid. Right, over to you, Mervyn. The chairman's report, please.
Right. Well, welcome again to the 74th AGM, and it's in the year of our 75th anniversary, of which you'll have seen some things in the journal. There will be more articles about this, and there'll be requests for members' inputs. So I'm not going to say a lot more about that. Suffice to say that if you have anything you wish to add to the commemorative TGN, please do get in touch. I've got some lovely articles. It's going to make super reading. I hope you all enjoy it when it comes out. If you've got any photographs that could be included, especially of people on field meetings, that would be, I think, quite a nice thing to put in it. Also, much of our business I report or mention in my chairman's letters, so I don't intend to repeat it here, but if anybody does have anything they want to bring up, there's AOB at the end to do that. For me, the most important thing I want to do this evening is to thank the members of the executive committee. As Anna just mentioned, without them we wouldn't have a society. They do work really, really hard. They give freely of their time to make sure that everything runs smoothly. Some of the jobs are more time consuming than others, but everybody contributes in one way or another at meetings and via the emails that we exchange. And for this, I am extremely grateful. Hopefully, by further embracing IT, we can lighten the load of the membership secretary, on whom falls the burden of maintaining contact with us all. I don't suppose you're aware, but because of various issues with emails, Andy has to send out lots and lots of small groups of emails to make sure that your servers don't reject them, thinking that they're spam coming from some source. I wish they could actually recognize genuine spam and let the real stuff through. Anyway, a big thank you to all of the committee. It is a strange paradox that the pandemic caused a number of societies like ours to close down. It's hard to believe that something as big as the Birmingham Natural History Society could collapse, but it has. But we, fortunately, seem to have not just survived, but have benefited in much the way that Anna described. And some of that is through embracing new technologies. You'll hear shortly from our treasurer that the Society's finances are in good order, not just because of legacies, but because our membership structure and communication system have been updated and allow us to accommodate members' preferred choices of communication whilst balancing the books with a fee structure that hopefully meets everyone's needs. And whilst not actually increasing our numbers greatly, we're not declining either. Our embracing of Zoom to continue meetings during the pandemic has led to a resurgence of interest, which I think has been really enjoyable on my part, and I hope everybody else has as well. One area that I feel we don't make the most of technology is the use of social media. Our in-house playground provides a nice safe area for us to exchange information, and a number of us make use of this, and I'm sure they enjoy it as well. But we're still not connecting with the huge number of people interested in natural history who use the plethora of natural history apps and groups, but do not belong to societies like ours. It's obviously possible that these people get all the satisfaction for natural history from these online interactions, but I think it's a challenge for us in the future to see how we can make the society more relevant to them and draw some of these naturalists into the fold. Natural history recording has obviously moved on a lot in recent years and is far more technological, but I feel there is a place for societies such as ours, and the recorders of the future have got to come from somewhere. As we move forward, I keep being asked, are we going to go back to live meetings? In particular, should the AGM be a live meeting rather than Zoom like we're doing now? So far, whenever I've asked this in my letter from the chair, the responses, and yes, I do get responses, have been overwhelmingly in favour of Zoom. We are, after all, a county-wide society, and Gloucestershire is a large county, which can involve a lot of travelling if people are to attend indoor meetings. The committee will discuss this further, but if you, the membership, have strong thoughts on this, please do write to me. It's quite possible we'll actually ask you to vote one way or another as well. At the moment, it's relatively easy to organise indoor meetings via Zoom. And if we were to return to live meetings, the amount of organisation will increase, and we would need a meetings organiser to join our committee. And I'd also like to see us reach out more proactively to non-members to alert them of our presence, to which end I think we need a publicity officer. This could be 2 positions or done by 1 person. If there is a volunteer out there who would like to join the committee and help drive the society forward via live meetings and through publicising our work, please let me or any of the other committee members know. So finally, it just remains for me to thank all of you for your continued support and engagement with the society. I do hope you enjoy the GNS as much as I do, and I look forward to seeing as many of you as possible on this season's field meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Miriam. Has anybody got any questions to our chairman before we accept the report? Don't see any yellow hands anywhere, Miriam.
No.
I think we should have a proposer and seconder for your report. Please.
There we are. Jane
Jane and
Juliet.
Juliet. Lovely.
There are quite possibly others, but I can't see the whole screen.
No, I can't either, unfortunately. Treasurer's report, please.
Right, Andy, are you here?
See our treasurer, but I actually forgotten.
He might not be home from work.
Shall we skip down and then come back in case he logs on, so to speak?
I was going to say, and if he's not, in the meantime, I'll try and find the PowerPoint that he's prepared.
Yeah, he's not logged on, Mervyn.
No.
No,
Okay. Let's skip treasurers at the moment and go back to membership secretary report and see if he manages to get on later. So
very good.
Thanks, Andy.
I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Not an awful lot to say other than that, as Mervyn suggested, we're not expanding our membership, but neither are we losing very many. We are staying pretty consistent at 391 postal addresses. Obviously, some of those postal addresses, there are couples, or there may even be a family with 2, 3, 4, 5 children. So postal addresses is the easiest measure that I can use now to judge how we're going. One thing that has increased is the number of students who get free memberships. That is students at the University of Gloucestershire and the Royal Agricultural University. At the moment, we actually have 84 students who are free of charge members. They are entitled to electronic membership for a minimum of 1 year. In terms of other things, we have 214 members paying by standing order, 124 members, which is more than we've ever had before, paying via PayPal, which is obviously a direct route to membership through our website. That works very well. During the year 2020, we were able to reclaim £709.03 from HMRC through 198 of our members having signed gift aid declarations. That figure has gone down because the majority of members have opted for digital membership and therefore reduced their subscription payments, in most cases, to £7.50. Having said that, quite a lot of members have opted not to reduce their payments, so effectively are donating £7.50 as well as subscribing £7.50, and for that we are very grateful. Just in terms of where our members are, 68 are west of the Severn in the sort of Forest and Newent area. 132 are in the Cotswolds and Stroud, 25 in the Vale and Tewkesbury, 107 in Gloucester and Cheltenham, and then we have 37 members outside the county in, for example, Bristol.
Oh, I think I think you've frozen, Andy.
And,
Oops.
with any third party for any reason. That's it. That's the top and bottom of it. Are there any questions?
Ah, Claire and Mark, I see a hand. You're muted. Can you unmute?
We didn't do an intentional hand.
Oh, it was an unintentional hand, right?
Can we ask Andrew to repeat the last section of his report, because he froze after he was saying that he had members in Bristol.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah. Yes, we have 37 members outside the county, from Bristol all the way up to my friend Nigel there in Dumbarton. Last paragraph was data protection. Just to reiterate, we do not share any of your information with any third party for any reason.
Any other questions for Andrew on membership? I don't hear a squeak. Thank you. Can we have a proposer and seconder for Andy's report, please? Des Marshall, thank you. And David Priddis, thank you. Lovely. Let's move on to scientific and publications. Juliet, please. Thank you.
Looks like Andy has signed on as well, Anna, as well.
He has. Oh, great. Well, we'll go back to the treasures after Juliet, if that's all right.
Yes. Well, I'm Juliet Bailey. I'm the chairman of the Scientific and Publication Subcommittee. And what I do is I try to sort of coordinate the recorders in the county, the county recorders who've got the responsibility of collating all the data on the various taxa. And first of all, a huge thanks to them. They do a lot of work behind the scenes, gathering all our data together, but also thanks to you you as individuals, if you're providing records to them, do keep the records coming. We do need them coming. Thank you also, publication side of things. Thanks to Kate Kibble and to David Scott Langley. Kate Kibble is the editor of the GNS News. You'll just recently have received your blue copy, whether by electronically or actually in paper. Here's a paper one. And it's got the 75th anniversary logo on the front. We've got that. Thanks to both you. We had a TGN. TGN stands for the Gloucestershire Naturalists. So sorry about that, but that's the TGN on the red helleborine this year, which David Armstrong wrote, and that has been hugely successful. And not just in Gloucestershire, as you can imagine, it's about an orchid and they're always popular wherever they're done. So that's been really good. And thanks to people who handle our electronic media, particularly to Ben Locke, who keeps the website going beautifully. It's just so smooth. You ask him to do something and it gets done, and he fields questions that we receive through that. So that's a really good. And continued thanks to Martin Matthews for the GNS Playground, which is great. It's a place you go with any observation you've made, any query you have on. Anna did one about a white butterfly in her porch the other day. What is it? You can do that. That's what the playground's about. So please do join in. And we're also involved in various projects. There's the Curlew Meadows project, which really took off this year. Not with GNS doing it, but we've sort of lit the fuse, and so many bodies have taken it up. And with the Farming and Wildlife Advisory Group, the Wildlife Trust, Wildfowl Trust at Slimbridge, Floodplain Meadows Partnership, and it's all started with GNS. So good on us. There's the Gloucester Winter Bird Survey that Andy Lewis runs, and that's good fun to do. Just a couple of brief walks in the autumn and you're adding to bird data that way. It's not a GNS project, but let's say thanks to Vic Polly, who's run the Winter Garden Bird Survey for, I think it was 12 years. He's handing that over to GSER now for the running of it, but it's been really good doing that, and that's another thing that's fun to do. Additional surveys this year, we're looking at the garden survey, which we'll be particularly looking at amphibians, frogs, toads and newts, bumblebees, and because it's our special anniversary year, we're going to be looking at wood lice. Now, everybody's got wood lice, everybody can record wood lice, so please do. Yeah, rewilding, that's an up and coming thing. So if you've got time to spare and would like to volunteer some time looking at rewilding projects, then please get in touch with me, because there's various bigger estates looking for our help in recording what they've got there. And finally, GNS has got grants available and for money for things you might want to do to encourage natural history recording. So if you've got an idea, please do get in touch and we can chat it through and see which way it might go. Well, that's it. There's my lengthy report, it's 3 or 4 pages worth, is on the GNS website currently, but that's just a summary of what you'll see there. Thank you.
Thank you, Juliet. Have anybody got any questions for Juliet? Otherwise, can I also have a proposer and seconder, please? Andy, Brilliant. I can't see another one.
Andy Lewis has got his finger up.
Oh, has he? Oh, thank you. Oh, and John Woodbridge. Have you got somebody there, Barry? Excellent. Thank
Yes.
you. That's lovely. I gather we do have our treasurer now. It's not on my screen, but if
Good
so,
evening, Anna.
oh, hi. There you are. Hi, Andy. Could we go to your treasurer's report now, please?
Yes, you can. Evening, everybody. Sorry for being late. Family matters unfortunately delayed me. So my report in the normal format, and I think the 2022 accounts are on the GNS website, so I didn't really want to bore you with all the details, but I thought there were 3 points that was probably just worth covering in the meeting. And Andy's talked about the some of the effects of going digital last year. I just wanted to talk about the financial effects of going digital. So we saw a reduction in membership income due to some members dropping down to the £7.50 digital membership option of just over £400. But we saw a reduction in publication costs of over £4,500. And about 90% of that reduction in publication costs was attributable to publication costs of GNS News. So I think that has panned out very well, really, from all respects, because I think there's people that wanted the benefit of a lower membership have got one, and we're not spending 4,600 and whatever pounds a year on postage and printing anymore, and people having to organise the physical distribution of those things as well. So I think that's a win-win, and it means that in 2022 our membership income actually fully covered the day-to-day costs of the society, and that's the first time for many years. So I think when we were talking about doing this, one of Mervyn's principles that he articulated was that we should try and keep the membership income of the society covering the day-to-day costs looked at probably on average over a 3-year period or something like that, to just iron out bumps. And so I think we're in that happy position now. So I think that's very good, and to have been able to do that while reducing subscriptions, not putting them up, I think is even better. The other thing I wanted to talk about was financial reserves. We saw a big investment loss on the reserves last year. So the performance of the 2 investment portfolios we have meant that we wiped out about half the gains that had been racked up in the previous 2 years, and that's in the nature of these things. So we'll see how things turn in 2023 and whether the sort of initial bounce back we've seen persists. But I think the point really is for the society is that it doesn't have to affect our financial plans, because we're very fortunate that the level of our reserves means that we can sustain that volatility without any difficulty, and which is why we keep the investments in the forms that we do, because of the long-term returns that will generate. So I think what that turns to, which is the third point really, is the disappointing feature about 2022, I suppose, is that our grant expenditure dropped quite significantly in 2022 compared to what it had been, I think, the previous 3 years. I mean, there's 2 years comparison on the report on the website, but I think we've been up in double figures for the 3 previous years. So that's one of the things that the committee's really focused on in 2023 is driving that level of grant giving back up again. And there's an interesting new project with helping people starting out on their naturalist careers that we've just agreed to fund, and Andy Lewis is going to talk a bit more about that, so I won't steal his thunder. So that was really what I thought was significant in the financial performance last year, and I wanted to draw attention to. But of course I'm happy to take any questions if anybody has any.
Thanks, Andy. Any questions on finance? I think you're going to be lucky, Andy. No, I don't see any hands.
It'll be a first if there are.
Exactly. Right, can proposer and seconder, please? I'm sure that Dave Cramp, and I'm probably, Mervyn, that'd be lovely. Super. We're right. Right, report on Cirencester branch. We're up to item 9.
Hello. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's sort of non-existent at the moment because a couple of things happened. COVID, and previous person who was in charge of the money there closed the bank account for Cirencester. So yeah, and gave it all to the main society. Yeah. So. But anyway, it's non-existent at the moment. I'm not sure whether there's enough people now to run indoor events anymore.
Anybody want to say anything at all on that, or?
Andy was involved, Andy Blewett as well. So whether he's got anything to say about it.
There's not really very much to add. Ken is absolutely right. COVID basically stopped us operating in Cirencester. He's right about the bank account being closed, but that isn't really a huge barrier. It was COVID that brought about the demise of our meetings there. That was followed by very onerous conditions from the parochial church council for the use of the church hall. It would have meant doing risk assessments, cleaning the place from top to bottom after we used it, various other things that basically made it impossible to restart. COVID is still with us, and until it has gone, I can't really see that there's any real prospect of reopening Cirencester meetings. The other thing that Ken said, which is quite right, is we're not sure that there are enough people left in the Cirencester area to make it worth it, which is unfortunate.
Thank you, Andy. Does anybody else want to say anything at all, or? I see a hand up for Jan.
Jane, can I ask, well, there's a Jan and a Jane who were putting hands up. Can I ask Andy and Ken, how come, because I've not been a long-standing member, how come we have a Cirencester branch? Is this a historical quirk?
Yes, it is. It turned out that there was the main society in the end. There used to be a Stroud branch as well. That closed quite a few years ago. And then Cirencester branch carried on, and it was only just before COVID where it stopped, really. And now we don't know, as Andy said and I've said, whether there's enough members to start it up again. But it was a separate branch for ages, yeah. Pretty much all the time it's been in existence.
Thank you.
Jan.
Thank you. Oh, I'm not muted. Okay, just to say that if we've got 132 members living in the Cotswolds and Cheltenham, well, Cotswolds, I think was said, which it seems a little bit surprising that there aren't enough members to do more in the Cirencester area. So
They're a bit nervous. Sorry, they're a bit nervous about climbing the hill out of Cheltenham, I think.
not who are in the Cotswolds.
Yeah, just to be clear on that, those members, Jan, stretch all the way from the other side of Morton in the Marsh down to more or less the M4 beyond sort of Stroud and Dursley. They are very thinly spread. The number of people that we used to get to winter meetings at Cirencester when I first got involved was around the sort of 30 mark, but that gradually declined, so that at times we were only getting 10 or a dozen people.
Right.
And as Ken says, Cirencester is a long way away from the bulk of our membership in the Vale, Cheltenham and Gloucester, and people weren't sort of willing to travel all the way up to Cirencester for those meetings. We used to also hold winter meetings at Sherdington, but that fell by the wayside for more or less the same reason. People weren't willing to go out on cold, wet, dark, rainy nights when possibly there was going to be ice and snow as well. Whereas the Zoom meetings that we're holding, we're regularly getting 25, 30 plus people because it can be done from the comfort of your armchair.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoy the Zoom meetings, and it gives me an opportunity to say thank you for the welcome that you, particularly Andy, have given me to the society, and I really enjoy the meetings, and I really appreciate that. But it just seems, obviously, it just seems a shame that we can't do more in the Cotswolds part of Gloucester, and that's me being parochial because I live here, and it's a long way for those of us that do live over here to get over to the forest, where understandably, as I guess people are more active, that's where a lot of things are. So that's why I'm asking. Could you do more? Yeah, that's all. But that's it.
I think the Zoom meetings do cover the barriers, because it doesn't matter where you are, you can sit in on those meetings. And as I said earlier, my friend Nigel is way north of the Scottish border, but he's able to join these meetings. It also means that we can get speakers from far and wide. They don't have to travel, and they can talk to us. I mean, we had one meeting with the RSPB rep from the Isle of Tiree talking to us.
It's not really the Zoom meetings that I'm thinking of, I suppose. I'm thinking probably more of sort of field meetings and things, which are generally, there are a few. We've got one on Sunday, in fact, in this area, which Andy Lewis is leading, which is lovely. But generally, they tend to be over in the forest. It's a long way to get there. So it's really more what I was thinking of rather than duplicating the Zoom meetings. But obviously, you've got to have people willing to do it. And I'm not in a position to volunteer to do it. So, it relies on people to do it, doesn't it?
Sure. Yeah. Well, Des is listening in, and I know that he would like to do more meetings in more places. So I'm sure he'll pick that up as a point to follow.
Cirencester branch in its heyday had a meeting secretary for the indoor and another one for the outdoor, and a full committee. And if you spent more than 3 years on the committee, you had to come off and wait a year before you could get back on again. That's all way out of date now.
I think we have to accept, maybe we have to move on with force of circumstance.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm sure the committee can discuss this at their committee meeting. Juliet, have you got a hand up?
Yeah.
Right.
But can I just say, I don't think we're saying, if the membership have ideas of what they'd like to do, then don't think that the committee are sort of going to say not discuss it, because I mean, it'd be very good to get new ideas. And if you know there's a nucleus of people in your area that would like to do something, then well, please get in touch. Yeah, great, good. But until people say, I would like this to happen, and I've got my mate who'd like this to happen too, we're not going to know. We're just going to plod on in the way we've been going and seems to fit quite comfortably. So yeah, keep challenging us. Good. That's
Good. Thank you. Can we have some proposers and seconders for Ken's report, please? Oh, Mervyn and Juliet, that's fine, thank you.
At this point, Anna, could we hear Andy Lewis's add-on bit to the treasurer's report?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, we forgot to put it on the agenda.
Ah, right. Yeah, I knew you were referring to something, and I was wondering what it was because I haven't got anything down here. Okay.
Yes, thanks. As Andy Oliver alluded to in his treasurer's report, there weren't a great number of grants last year, but we did decide on quite a large one in January, so it'll show up in next year's accounts. Young people looking for jobs in the environmental sector face quite a significant hurdle in that they start with no practical experience. And to help with this, Gloucestershire Wildlife Trust have started their Wild Trainees scheme, in which young people work 3 days a week for them for a year, supervised by one of their land managers or similar. And they gain experience in practical skills like chainsawing or driving all-terrain vehicles, wildlife surveying, our particular interest. But this scheme is unpaid, and that's to avoid any complications with employment law or minimum wage issues or whatever, which would probably scupper it. And so the trainees have the other half of the week to support themselves and make their way in the world. And so they can only effectively get half a paying job. The Society has made £10,000 available to support their training and their equipment and their travel. Technically, we can't pay living expenses, otherwise it would turn into a job. And our aim is that there will be more trainees completing their year, and that a broader range of young people will be able to consider applying, not just those from well-off families. A broader range will be able to consider applying for that scheme. I will put a thing about this on the website under projects, and you can email in any questions you might have about that. Thank you.
Thanks, Andy.
Brilliant. Thanks, Andy. I don't think we need to vote on that, do we?
No.
Good. Right. Election of officers and executive committee. I don't know how you want to do this. Do you want to do this just en bloc?
Well, everybody
Same
has,
time?
yeah, I was going to say everybody has agreed to stand, Anna, and we haven't received any nominations, so there's no need for elections. So I think you're right, we can do it en bloc unless anybody objects.
I shouldn't think so.
Okay.
Right. But I presume we need a proposer and a seconder for that. I propose that we elect everybody en bloc. Seconded by Jane.
Thank you.
Now we come to a very special part of the AGM, which Mervyn is going to talk about, which is the GNS honours.
Yeah, thank you, Anna. Very briefly, we've got some honours to give out, and these are basically long service awards, and at least 2 of them I think are not here, so I'll deal with them first. It was something of an oversight, I think, really, that we didn't give Ingrid Twizzle honorary membership when we gave Colin honorary membership. It's worth pointing out that Ingrid sat on many committees during her time. Well, she's still with us, but while she was active within the society, she was always Colin's right-hand person at anything to do with herp tiles, and in later years she took over from Sonia Holland as the Dragonfly recorder, and that culminated in the 28th edition of the Gloucestershire Naturalist being all about the dragonflies and damselflies of Gloucestershire. So we finally got round to awarding life membership to Ingrid to go along with Colin's life membership. And then the next person that we felt should be rewarded in this way as well, very long serving and long suffering and very hard working member, has moved to Cumbria now, and that's David Scott Langley. And David started off as a county recorder for all the little crunchy things that no one else wanted to record. He is an invertebrate zoologist of some standing, and is well known nationally as well as locally. His knowledge is so good. He took over from an old friend of mine who I've just got back in touch with because of the 75th anniversary of GNS. Robin Sellers founded the Gloucestershire Naturalist and edited the initial editions. And when he left the county, David took over and edited 25 editions of the Gloucestershire Naturalist, whilst he was at the same time chair of the Scientific and Publications Committee. He was also Cirencester branch chairman and vice chairman of the society. So you can see what I mean by being a long-suffering member. We owe a great debt of gratitude to David. So it's a very well-deserved honorary membership that we're putting in his direction. And then lastly, I know they're here, so I hope I can embarrass them a little bit. Again, long-serving members who have done enormous amounts of work for the society. If you've not been on a field meeting with Mark and Claire, then you haven't lived. It is one of the great experiences of botanical natural history going out with them. And it'll certainly help your Latin in all sorts of ways. And Claire is always happy to translate when Mark's talking in Latin. They are incredibly well known in the botanical world. It's not just for the GNS that they've contributed huge numbers of records, but for the BSBI as well. They're incredibly active, and to their great credit, they took over and finished I've got it here now, the New Flora of Gloucestershire, when the original editor, and his name has just gone out of my head, when he died. So full credit to them. They've sat on committees and been incredibly good and active members, and long may that continue. So an incredibly well-deserved life membership, honorary life membership, goes to Mark and Claire Kitchen. And as they're here, can we just give them a round of applause, please? Thank you. So congratulations to all of them, and thank you for your work. So and I should point out to everybody that I'd contacted everybody in advance and they were all happy to receive their awards. So right.
Thank you, Mervyn. Marvellous. Well done, everybody. AOB, hopefully none, as we've got certainly run over your 10 minutes. I don't see any hands. Excellent. Right, I think I'll close this meeting very quickly because we need to get on with our talk. Just to say that I think everybody, we're really going to enjoy our 75th anniversary year with all the things coming up. I'm looking forward to it. My thanks, obviously, to the committee and Mervyn for all the hard work that you do. I'm well aware how much time you put into running this society. And I encourage everybody to join the Garden Challenge. I'm delighted to say that the frog spawn has at last been found in our pond, having found 7 dead frogs after our freeze. I'm afraid that they didn't survive, but it was awful. I didn't think I'd have any frog spawn, but there it is. So yes, please join in with the Garden Challenge, and I look forward to seeing some of you on some of our visits, actually out in the open air and in looking at habitats. So let's close the AGM. Yeah, 14 minutes past 8 I make it, and go hopefully straight into, as soon as we can, into our talk, if that's possible.
Excellent. Thank you, Anna. Thank you. And now to another Anna. You've survived the AGM, Anna, so are you all set to go?
I am. I'll just try sharing my screen.
Yeah, let's see how it goes.
And then hang on a second. I'll just. hang on a
Brilliant.
Can you see that? Just a normal.
Yeah, I can see that.
Hang on a second. I'm just going to change a second to the normal view. Oh, hang on. I don't know why I'm seeing the presenter view. Anyway, you can just see the one slide. Is that right?
Yeah, but we're seeing presenter view, Anna.
That's what I'd, yeah.
That's okay.
It's not even selected. I don't know why that's. Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,